Me. Today we have Brad with us, who actually his story is really interesting, and I'm not going to be the one to share it with you. I'm going to let him do it. But but what's really cool is the way he built his business and how he became the most famous realtor in his area. So, Brad, I'm just gonna mute myself now and let you share the story.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Debbie. Thanks for having me. And I guess you'll just watch and admit people as they come in the waiting room and whatnot. All right. Perfect. Well, I want to say to all of you who jumped on and turned on your cameras and interacted, that's so awesome. I appreciate you so much. Um, I am a big person that is super into community. Okay. I've had a lot of experience with community and or not being in a community where I live in my neighborhoods, and community has made all the difference. And so to me, being on this Zoom call with all of you and you who put your cameras on, who are able to, if you're not able to, no worries, and be a part of this and interact. I'm super stoked. I'm grateful for you. Everything is better together. Everything is better together. That's for sure. Um, so just to kick this thing off a little bit about me, this class, let me try to share my screen with you. All right. Well, so about me, guys, I was a realtor for 10 years, so I'm no longer a realtor, but I was in real estate for 10 years selling houses. Eventually, I grew up to a team of about 12 people, and so I learned a lot during that time. We sold hundreds of houses, $100 million in real estate at least. I don't even know. After that, we stopped tracking it. But I was a leader at Keller Williams. Taught people how to win listings. I called lots of expireds. I called lots of for sale by owners. I won a lot of those appointments. I lost a lot of those appointments. I got to a level where if people wanted to hire me, but I could tell they didn't see our value, then I wouldn't work with them if they weren't a good fit for me anymore, and stuff like that. But I had a lot of struggles that typical real estate agents have, which I'm going to talk about. I'm excited to share this stuff with you. I just want to welcome you to this class because what I'm about to teach you is something that I'm sure you've probably never heard before in any way, shape, or form. Anytime I bring this to people and share it, they're always like, I had no idea. Um, and I learned this along the way on accident. It's really a cool story. It's super exciting. And so, what I want to share with you today is how you can become the most famous person, the most famous real estate agent or financial advisor or lender in your community, and why you need to do that. Okay, so this is about becoming a community builder, a community leader, rather than just a transactional real estate agent. Okay. So just keep that in mind as we go through this. So I just want to share a little bit about who I am. I live in Florida. I lived in Oregon when I had my real estate team, and we just recently moved to Florida about 4 years ago. I haven't sold real estate since I've been here, and we absolutely adore Florida. I'm a person of faith. We go to church. I have a family, a blended family of five. I just had my anniversary yesterday of 18 years with my wife, so that was really awesome. She's stuck with me all these years, so that's absolutely fantastic. And like I said, we had a real estate team of 12, and I'm the founder of Music at Montague, which is a summer concert series, and then produced other events that extended from there. So what you're going to get in here today is I want to teach you how to build a business where clients come to you. Okay. So many real estate agents all the time, it's hard to get consistency in the business. It's hard, you're on that real estate roller coaster all the time. Some months you get a deal, other months you got no deals. And then you constantly feel like you're chasing leads or you're chasing a referral. Somebody teases you that they're going to maybe do something, and then you don't hear from them for 3 months, and you're like, oh, what happened to that person? And so you're just honestly always chasing leads, chasing the next deal. And that's not really fun. Begging for those referrals, and you get burnt out on that. We're not gonna do that anymore. We're gonna teach you how to build a business where clients come to you so you can attract and not chase. People are gonna want to work with you, and think that you're the coolest agent in town and that you're the most powerful agent in town once you start enacting this stuff that I show you today and employing this in your business. So I'm going to give you the framework today to become the go-to agent in your town. All right, this is what it's all about. One shift is going to triple your GCI with clients that you actually like. This is just one shift. I don't want you to miss it. I'm going to warn you when it's coming up. I've already uh, foreshadowed it. I started to mention it, but keep in mind this one shift that I'm going to teach you can absolutely triple your GCI annually, and it's a lot of fun doing it. So one thing is that this isn't tactic, right? This is it's a transformation. I'm sure you get on a lot of these webinars and people are always like, "Oh, it's all about a transformation." Yeah, it's true, but a lot of them are like, "Oh, you got to change your mindset about calling expireds or making calls and stuff like that." And that can be true in some cases, but it still lacks motivation. What I am going to teach you today is going to be an actual transformation. Once you understand it, it's pretty easy. You're probably doing one of these two things, and all you got to do is decide to be the second one instead of the first one, and then it's a very simple process after that. What I'm teaching you is not without work. There is some work that you're going to have to do. But what I do like to say is that you're going to go from being a salesperson, from a transactional agent to a local celebrity to a community leader and a community builder. All right. You're going to do that with one shift. It's going to change everything in your business for you. And it's going to have people coming to you, and it's the most fun way. It's the most fun way to grow your real estate business by far. There's nothing even close. So hit me up in the chat. If you like to have some fun, drop a fireball in there or some kind of fun party hat or something. Let me know that you like to have fun in your real estate business, because I know I do. I like to have fun. That's why I'm wearing this hat. People are like, "Why are you always wearing hats?" Because I like hats. I wear different hats. They're fun. And being here in Florida where I live, I love the flowers. I love the tropical environment. And so I like to have fun. Um, so awesome. Looks like some of you like to have fun too. That's what I like to hear. So you are in the right place. So awesome. Um, so one shift that's going to triple your GCI with clients you actually like. I just want you to imagine being the most recognized person at the grocery store. Okay. Um, Over the next 40 minutes, I'm going to make sure that I show you how you do this. So where you're going to go from feeling invisible in your market to going places and you're like, that person, I don't know that I know that person, but they're looking at me like they know me. And you start getting these weird people looking at you every now and then where it's like, why are they looking at me like that? And they're like, oh, they probably know me from this event or the summer concert series or whatever it is. And you don't know them, and that's fine. But you're going to be not known just as the realtor. You'll still be known as a realtor, but you're also going to be recognized as a community leader. And so that's really, really important. And so you can build local fame, and I'm going to share with you, why you need to build local fame. But you can build local fame, okay, without ads, without a giant following, without doing cold calls for 4 hours a day, without door knocking, and without chasing anyone. Okay. Um, and really the thing is if you're going to build this fame, you can do this in a completely different way. And so why it's important that you become the most famous person in your community, I want to start with this. And that is that the hardest part about being a business owner in any business, ask any business owner. But when it comes, and especially real estate is no different. But when it comes to any business, the hardest part about building a business, as you can attest to, all of you who are here on this call, is that the hardest part is to become found. It's being known. Okay. Everybody knows that no one can buy from you or will buy from you unless they first know you, like you, and trust you, right? So they have to know you first. That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part about growing any business. And why are we always doing? We're trying to find leads. Where's the leads? Can I get some leads? Do I have to buy leads? There's a brokerage giving me leads. Who's giving me leads? Where do I get leads? Because leads are somebody that can be introduced to you. So they know, hey, I'm here, I exist, and I sell real estate, or I'm a financial advisor and I can help you, whatever it might be, right? So the hardest part about any business is being found in the first place. I mean, think about it like this. If you go down to let's say your plumbing leaks in your house and suddenly your toilet explodes and you need to get it fixed. Well, you Google somebody, you go on Google Maps and you say plumber near me, and then you get 4 or 5 of these people and that pop up on your screen, and you called one of them, and then they came over and fixed your plumbing. Well, all those other 200 plumbers in the area, you have no idea who they are. You didn't know them. You can't hire them because you can't find them. You don't know they exist. Google didn't show you that they exist, and there's no possible way for you to even call them, right? You have no idea who they are or where they are or anything. So the hardest part is being found. Everybody is always, if you go on YouTube and you're trying to learn something about how to grow a business, everybody will give you the how-tos of building your business and making it successful and doing great offers and all this stuff after they've found you, but nobody wants to tell you how to get found. That's the hardest part. So that's why we spend money on Google ads or Facebook ads, or just cold call our neighborhoods, or door knock around open houses, because you're trying to get into these interactions where people know who you are. And what I'm going to teach you today is going to help you to do that to a very, very high level, and you're going to do it very, very fast. And I promise you that there is nothing else that can make you as famous in your community as fast as this. You can spend 6 months to a year trying to post on social media before people in your surrounding area actually start to follow you, and they're looking at your posts and they know that you exist and that you sell houses in their area, right? And if you were trying to do this with ads, it doesn't, those are sort of one-off people. You maybe get 100 people a month or something if you're lucky who now know you exist. But a very small percentage, less than 1% of those are going to ever even talk to you. And so, door knocking, this stuff is really, really slow. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But this is the fastest way to build your local fame. And you got to be, the reason I talk about the fame is because once you're famous in your town, you now have 10,000s of people who know about you, and they know that you're there and they know you exist. And in order for you to make that happen, it didn't cost you any money, and other people gave you the money to do it, and you got paid to market yourself. And then it was a lot of fun. And now all these people know about you. So this is the most fun way. You got into real estate probably to help people, not to chase them. So hopefully that's the case for you, that you want to serve people. And so if you do, there's no better way to do it than what I'm going to show you today. Now, as I mentioned, I was invisible in my own neighborhood. I was a great agent. I had a great team, and no one knew who I was. And this was super frustrating because um, it was super frustrating because I would literally drive through my neighborhood every day, and I would see signs from my competitors going up on doors 3 doors down from my house. And then I would see another one of their signs 2 weeks later, and another one a month later. And I'm like, what the heck, man? I'm like, I'm here. I exist. How's it that nobody in my town knows that I'm here? And so it was a struggle. And so it's not the best agents that win. It's the agents who are the most known in their community, okay? And the most authoritative. So if people know, like you, and trust you, so they feel like you have authority to help them, that's where it's at. But the first step is they gotta know who you are. So here's what happened. Um, I I accidentally discovered this. It was a total accident. So what happened was, I lived in a community. It was called Villebois, in a suburb of Portland, Oregon. And in this community, it was a master plan developed community. Maybe where you live, there are lots of those. Where I lived, there weren't. There was hardly any land left in the entirety of, 25-mile radius of Portland. So this was like one of the last places that was close enough into Portland to want to build on. And it was a wonderful city in Wilsonville. And in this town, this beautifully master plan developed community, there was 2,000 houses they built. All right. This is where I saw my competitor signs going up everywhere. And so what happened was, there was a realtor in the area, and his real estate team, they put on some events in the community, like a parade, a barbecue, a turkey, touchdown turkey day, football game and stuff like this. Nothing really super huge or anything in this master plan developed community. But but he did it. And then I saw that he allowed this other he had sponsors coming in to do his events too, to help pay for the food and the stuff like that. He had some lenders and some other companies. And then I saw he had another realtor that he allowed to sponsor, which I thought was kind of wild, but I thought it was cool. So then I was like, hey, let me reach out and see if I can jump in on these events too. I got to get my signs up in this community, right? I didn't know what else to do. And so I tried everything else. And so he said no. They were like, no, we've got enough realtors. And so while I'm sitting there in my house, right across the street, literally right across the street from my house, they built an amphitheater park with a stage and some amphitheater seating. This beautiful little park. It was not huge, but it was big enough. It was pretty nice. And for 6 months, I saw it sit there empty with nobody used it. Maybe a family would walk their dog in there occasionally. I'm pretty sure nobody even knew that it existed, and just like they didn't know I existed. And so after I got told no, I was like, well, why can't? And I was looking at this amphitheater park. I said, well, why can't I just go put on an event? And so I called the HOA and I said, hey, can I rent this park and like put on a concert? And they were like, well, sure. And they were like, we'll send you the application. And I was like, what? That's it? And so they sent me an application. It was like $300 for like 6 nights. That's how cheap it was. I don't even know how much that works out to be a night, but it was really, really cheap. And so then they said, hey, you probably need to get a couple of other permits in town, because I was like, well, I'm gonna serve alcohol, I'm gonna do this stuff. And so they were like, oh, you also need to give us some insurance. So I learned that you got to get a certificate of insurance. And but I reached out to a partner of mine, a friend of mine in town, who owned a gym. He owned the biggest gym in town. And I said, hey man, I want to put on this summer concert series in this amphitheater park coming up. But summer was almost there. It was 3 weeks away. And I was like, do you want to jump in on this with me and be like, the main sponsor with me and help me out? He was like, yeah, let's do it. And so he jumped in. And so we immediately started like calling people to see if we could get some sponsors to cover some of these payments of things, because I didn't want to spend any money out of pocket. And so ended up we got like 6 sponsors that year. We scheduled 6 bands. Um, and we had a snack bar where we sold beer and wine and snacks, popcorn. I had a popcorn maker in my kitchen that was really, really nice. And so we just brought that over. And then I bought a little kegerator so I could serve 2 kegs of beer. And then I reached out to some craft brewery and I said, hey, can you donate me 2 kegs a night? And then we'll, give you some advertising benefits for the marketing for this event and stuff like that. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. And so the first people I reached out to happened to just be people I knew in business, and everybody said yes, even though I was charging them money. And so I sort of accidentally discovered this, and so I put on this summer concert series. All right. It was called Music at Montague. It was really, really popular. Every year it got bigger and bigger. There was like 1,000 people a night who came. They were coming from all over the cities around us, from outside our cities and towns. It was absolutely powerful. It was super amazing. And I'm going to share with you in just a few minutes the biggest discoveries that I had that you are going to learn here, that I'm sure is stuff you've never thought of before. So, before I do that, I want to see if I can share this video with you just to give you a little idea um, about what this concert series was like. Let me change the screen share. All right, can you guys see that?
It's just a black screen right now, Brad. Yes.
Hey everybody, it's Brad Salyers here. I'm here with my man Carlos. Salazar from the Edge Family Fitness. I'm with Waterstone Realty Group, and we're the producers of the Music at Montague Summer Concert Series. And so we just wanted to give you guys a shout out, say thanks for coming out to this year's amazing 2018 Music at Montague event. It was a big hit this year, right?
It was, you know, it was way bigger than last year, actually. I was surprised because last year, for our first year, it had an awesome turnout. And so this year,
we only had 3 weeks to put it on.
That's right, yeah. So this year we were seeing 700 to 1,000 local community members. People were traveling from Grants Pass and Lake Oswego, Westland, and of course Villa Bois. So we brought back Nate Bosford, we brought back Brian Odell, brought back the New Wavers.
So just wanted you to see that and get that. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you think. Show me some fire if you think that was an awesome event. Do you think that had impact on people's lives? That's one of my big ahas here, but let me know if you're still alive. Show me some fire in the comments if you thought the Music at Montague was awesome. Sweet. Thank you. So what I'm going to share with you in here, let me go back to presenter mode. So what I want to share with you in here today is just, you can do this stuff. And you saw me on the stage there. And so when you saw me on the stage with a microphone, do you think all those people were learning about who I was? I think they did. And do you think all those people thought I was the one with authority there? Like, hey, man, this guy's a community leader, man. This guy is powerful. Look, this guy's producing this event. He's on stage with this microphone. It gives you instant credibility and authority, instant visibility, nonstop referrals, and true local fame. So that was the accident. I totally discovered on accident. I put the summer concert series on, and then everybody knew who I was, like, right away. There was, I think, probably at least 3,000 to 5,000 people that came the first year. And so most of them from in that community at first. And so immediately everybody knew who I was. Faster than anything I could have ever done, just putting on one event, getting on stage, telling people who I was, why I put this community event on. And as you could tell from the people dancing, the kids dancing and having fun, there was a lot of memories made. These people came out and they had a really good time. So I just hosted one simple community event and everything changed. All right. The result, instant visibility, nonstop referrals. And just want you to imagine hosting the event that everybody talks about. Maybe you're going to do the Pups and the Pints event, or maybe you're going to do the Cars and Coffee event, or maybe the Movies in the Park event. What I want you to think about as I go through this process, a lot of what I'm going to talk about, I went sort of big-ish. That event that I put on was still not a large, what I consider a large event. In my town in Wilsonville, there was the city put on an event called the Fun in the Park. And it was about 10 times the size of my event. They sold about 100 to 150 booths from businesses and had massive bounce houses, like 15 food car trucks, and all kinds of stuff. And that one brought probably 10 to 15,000 people in a day. So you can host those, you can put those together. And so I'm excited to share that with you. But I just wanted you to know, you don't, as I go through here, and I am talking about maybe large events or these events like Music at Montague might seem like it's out of your reach right now or something. Maybe you think that's too big, or I don't know if I can do that. It seems like a lot of work, or it's too big. I just want to encourage you, you don't have to start there. I have a community that I'm going to invite you to at the end to see if you want to join, to help you, take action and implement. We'll teach you. You'll be a part of these community cohorts, and we'll walk through step by step how to put these events on. So you're not going to do it alone. But I want you to know that there are a bunch of different sizes of events. Okay, so you can do small events, like maybe say a small neighborhood block party to start, or you can do like a business networking event and do one every month in a different location in town, and just invite 50 to 150 business owners. You could do a Movies in the Park in a sort of a small park or whatever. So you can start small. You could do like a women's retreat or something. If there's a med spa in town and they can fit 50 women in it, then maybe you make gift bags and get a couple sponsors to come, and then you do an event there, and then you rotate to the massage place next or whatever. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can totally start small and then see if it's for you, and then work your way up as big as you want to go, as big as you can dream, right? So and you can do everything in between. And so just keep that in mind. Even though I showed you that video, if it might seem overwhelmingly big to you or something like that, don't think that that's where you have to start, and don't think that that's the only events you have to do. And by the way, there are client appreciation events as well. And before I move on, I want to say something about client appreciation events. I'm going to show you in here how you can get everything paid for when you do these events. You should not have any out-of-pocket cost up front. And literally, you should not have any out-of-pocket costs where you lost money to put on an event. You should always get at least minimum everything paid for. And then on top of that, you can still make extra money to put money in your pocket and actually have a supplemental income, which is pretty awesome. But client appreciation events, I listened to a lady on a podcast the other day, and she was talking about putting on events. She was saying they brought her on there because she puts on events. Well, turned out she just put on 4 events a year, and most of them were all client appreciation events. And she said that she only did 4 because they were very expensive. And so if you're doing client appreciation events, maybe you're on here and you're already doing events, but you're just not doing it right. If you're spending any money on any of your events in terms of money that's coming out of your pocket, you are doing it wrong. Okay. So keep that in mind. This should not cost you anything, and it's the most fun way to grow your business. All right. So when you create connection, you become the choice, right? And so I just want you to stick around with me to the end, because you're going to know what 99% of agents in your town don't know and never will know. Even if they watch you doing what you're doing, they're still not going to figure it out. So stay with me all the way to the end. And I'm going to show you how you're going to become the source of community connection, and the automatic choice for real estate agents in your town. So for agents who want more than transactions, all right, it's for leaders who want impact, recognition, and authority in your community. I think you can agree from seeing me on stage at that event and on video that that gave me some authority in the area of my town, knowing that I'm a community leader, that I do great things for my town to make it a better place. So let me run through real quick here the 5 mistakes that real estate agents make that keep you stuck. And I just want to see if you relate to any of these. This won't be too long, but I just want you to think about this and think about if you're stuck in one of these, if one of these things is related to you. And I really want you to pay attention to number 4, because number 4 is what I was alluding to earlier when I said this is the one game changer, the only shift that you have to make. That can change everything in your business. So mistake number 1 is staying invisible, right? Visibility beats hustle every time. Like I said, I was in there grinding. I was making expired calls. I was making for sale by owner calls. I was circle prospecting. I was doing open houses as often as I could. I was even door knocking around the open houses. And I will tell you what, that I was grinding, but I was getting destroyed by these people who were putting small events on in my town. So once I stepped up and started putting on events, everything changed, because now I had visibility. People knew who I was. They're like, hey, I know this guy. And so don't be invisible. Are you feeling invisible? Put a ghost in the chat if you feel like you're invisible in your own area. I know some of you said you just moved, and this is absolutely a great thing for you to get started in your community when no one knows you. But if you feel invisible, drop a ghost. It is October after all. Let me know if you're feeling invisible. Don't be afraid to be honest about it. I was totally invisible and it sucked. Mistake number 2 is growing too slow. Okay. One-to-one effort can't compete with one-to-many growth. Now, I've been studying marketing for 15 years now. I was talking to Debbie on the phone about this earlier, and when I talked about those things, right? Calling expireds, doing an open house on the weekend, hoping to meet 1 or 2 families. I also thought it was super cringy to like go to like if I met somebody, be like, hey, let's go have a coffee. And then I'm like building my sphere 1 person at a time. That's crazy slow. All right. And then even going to networking events, if I'm there just handing out cards, like, I mean, how many people can you meet in an hour or 30 minutes after the end of the speaking session or whatever? Maybe five, right? And so everything that I was doing, even though I was bringing in ads, because even though I was bringing in leads from ads, it was, only less than 1% of those things are, you'll never talk to anybody, but maybe 1% of them at best. So this one-to-one effort is growing too slow. Are you growing too slow? Does that resonate with you? Do you feel like I can do more deals? I can do more deals, but where's the referral? Somebody send me a referral. Let me tell, is your brother going to list or what? I've been waiting for him for 6 months. You've been talking about this. What's going on? So if you feel the pains of growing too slow, this is for you. We're going to fix that. Mistake number 3 is not marketing to your community. All right. Your neighbors should know your name before your ads do. All right. And so many people are not marketing to their community. I was at least trying. I even put put a postcard size thing in the local Villabon Living magazine for a year. I sent out mailers to direct mail postcards to the community for over a year. I finally got a response on it, but it took literally the 12th month before I ever got a phone call. So that's a really slow way. People just don't read mail anymore. And so, if you're not marketing to your community in some kind of way, then your neighbors aren't going to know who you are and know you exist, right? And it's really not that difficult. Like I said, you can just put on some small events, even like just a neighborhood block party. So mistake number 3 is not marketing to your community. Mistake number 4, somebody's waiting. There we go. This is the big one. All right. This is the big one, is branding yourself just as a realtor. Okay. Um, so here's the deal. There are literally, as far as I can tell, you can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. There's literally only 2 ways that you can market yourself as a real estate agent. Now, 99% of people or more, probably greater than it, honestly, probably 99.9% of realtors market themselves as a realtor, right? You will see their social media and they're posting about this new listing, or this just sold, or this new luxury home in the community, or here's what's happening in the market, or don't trust Zillow, or whatever kind of stuff. People are doing crazy stuff to get attention nowadays, but still they're mostly just, all of them just branding themselves as a realtor. Now you might have niches inside there, right? You might be a luxury realtor, or a commercial realtor, or a condo, specific realtor, things like that. Or maybe a new construction specialization or something. But most all these people are simply branding themselves as realtors. That's all you know. So that if they send out any newsletter or anything at all, they're sending out, emails about here's the latest situation with interest rates, or here's a free home valuation, or check out my video on 10 tips to get your home sold faster. Okay. And there is nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there is. Okay. I did it for a long time, and there's definitely nothing wrong with that. And you can be very successful doing that. You can. I couldn't figure it out, but I think people can and do figure it out how to do that, and just brand themselves as a realtor only. But this way, I want you to think of doing a shift. All right. I want you to think of doing a shift where you're going to go from being a realtor, advertising yourself as a realtor, to advertising yourself as a community builder, a community leader. All right. And so a community leader is someone who is going to show people stuff about the community. Now, you do see people doing this more often, usually on video. You might see a realtor now go around and start showcasing things in the community. You might see a YouTuber. There's a lot of famous YouTubers. One down here is Ken Posick, and he does a lot of videos about the community. He's a community leader. He's a community builder, right? And so I suggest you make the shift. Don't make that mistake of just being a realtor that's just transaction based. And I'll explain that a little bit more later. But focus on Focus on becoming a community builder instead of just branding yourself as a lead, as a realtor. Mistake number 5, no systems means no consistency. Now, I'm sure you've heard this on every webinar, every training you've ever been to as a real estate agent ever, but it's true. If you don't have any systems, you don't have any consistency. If you hope to get off that real estate roller coaster where you have no ups and downs and you're able to just get, 3, 5 deals every single month, you cannot do that without systems. You literally, there's just no way possible. So that's a mistake that realtors make. I did it for a while. I started getting into CRMs. Even though I had a CRM, I was still not sending out newsletters. I still wasn't sending out information that was value, that people paid attention to me and wanted to stay in touch with me. So you got to get consistency, or you won't have, or you got to get systems, or you won't have consistency. So the discoveries that changed everything, I have already talked a little bit about some of them, so I'll be able to go through them a little faster. But discovery number 1 is that events change the game. Their attention is the new currency, and events make you the bank. Everybody wants to be a part of what you're doing. When I was doing these events, every year this thing grew and grew and grew to where, like, the second or third year, I was selling a title sponsorship for $15,000. People were literally fighting to try to get in because our space was limited. I had a winery that was like good friends with Carlos and trying to get in his good graces. So they're like begging us to try to get in, but we sold wine. So it was like made no sense. So we had issues. We had insurance agents that were pissed off a little bit because they couldn't get in because we sold the title sponsorship to an insurance guy. We had a lot of people that were just trying to get in. We sold a Honda dealership that came in. They were like, hey, can we bring a car, and stuff. So it was pretty awesome. So events, if you put on community events, it's going to change everything. It's going to change everything in your business. Number 2, events create local fame faster than anything else. I mentioned this already. And so just know that, there is literally nothing that can make you more known and more visible more quickly and more easy than putting on events in your community. Events make you grow faster. So this I alluded to. I do want to touch on it again. I did mention it, but the slow growth, the one-on-one, doing the networking events, just where you're handing out cards, meeting somebody, trying to grow your sphere, go have coffee with them, calling an expired one at a time. These are really, really slow ways. There's a marketing term, and it's called one-to-many. If you have not heard that, welcome to the club, because it's like the greatest thing on planet Earth. Every marketer, every business now wants to do one-to-many. Guess what we're doing here right now? This is one-to-many marketing, right? You guys I got however many, 30 or 40 of you here joining us. And so I'm talking to 30 or 40 of you at one time. And so that's called one-to-many marketing. Everybody wants to do one-to-many and recurring income, monthly recurring income. How can I get that? But one-to-many works. If you get on the stage and there's 1,000 people there and they're all looking at you and you're talking to them on the microphone, 1,000 people just learned who you are. They know your name. They know what you do. They know, whatever CTA, call to action, that you told them. Hey, grab this QR code or stop by my booth, whatever. And so now 1,000 people know about me because I got on stage. So this is way, way faster to grow your business than anything else you can do. Every month you could be introducing yourself to 100 to 1,000 people, depending on what kind of event you're putting on, of new faces, new people in the town knowing about you. Discovery number 4 that I had was that, you don't need permission to lead. All right. You might need a permit though. So I just want you to know that. And the reason I bring that into this is because this was an aha moment for me, because when I was like, why can't I just put on an event? I just never thought about putting on an event. I was just like, I'm from West Virginia. Maybe I'm not the smartest person around. I'm not really sure, but I never dawned on me that I could just put on an event if I felt like it. So it was fascinating to know that I could just do that. And so then when I called and was like, can I put on an event? They were like, yeah, it's $300 and here's a couple permits for, this one's 75 and that one's whatever. It's $150, $500. Go have some fun. And I was like, whoa, that's super cool. And so, I kind of thought, well, if people are putting on events in the town, it's got to be the city, until I saw the realtor doing it and doing those small events. But I was like, oh, those are just small events. And his stepdad was the HOA president. So I was like, well, he probably just has an in. But It's actually true still today. In most towns, you're not going to see realtors putting on events. They might put on client appreciation events and things like that, but you're not going to really see them out there doing events. If there's an event in your community, like a big art and wine festival or a Friday food truck thing, or usually it's the city's HOA or the city itself putting on these events. And this is getting more popular now. Now, where I live here in Orlando, there are other companies that are just popping up that they are just event producing companies just to do it to make a living for fun, to make income for their livelihood. One is called Horizon West Happenings right here in my town. And so now they're putting on events. And so there's a guy over in Tampa and he owns some kind of like landscaping business, I think it is, or maybe a plumbing business. I can't remember. But he put on events. And so now he puts on these humongous, massive events that must bring in like 50,000 people over 3 days at least. They're so big, and it's just one guy, just a contractor, started it, and so it's super cool. You guys, you can do this. You don't need permission to lead. You don't need permission to put on events, but you might need a permit. So don't forsake those permits. The power of the stage. This was another thing that I discovered. You know, is that being on stage creates an image of authority, and it really gives you an identity as that brand community leader that I talked about. Okay, and so this is when you made that shift from being a transactional real estate agent to a community leader. And here's what I want you to know about that is that if you are a transactional real estate agent, if all you're doing is telling people, "Hey, I'm a realtor. Hey, I can tell you about buying homes. I can tell you about the market. I can tell you about interest rates. I can tell you about new developments. I can, tell you about the latest in home construction, whatever it might be." And that's all you have to offer to tell people. Here's what you should know is that in a life of a buyer or seller, there is a 6-month window when a person is going to do a transaction. They're starting the process of buying a home till when they close a home is an average of around 6 months of their life. And then same with selling, it's 6 months. And then also the average time between when a person buys and sells again, so if they bought a home until they sell, is 13 years. It went down a little bit right around COVID because the market got so hot, people were moving a little more, but it's actually getting worse now. And so in between that time of 13 years, if you help someone buy a home and they bought a home in your community, and you're just constantly bombarding them with, "Hey, I want you to stay paying attention to me, but all I'm talking about is the same things over and over. Interest rates, how to stage your home." Do they need information about staging their home? Do they need information about buying a home? Not for 10 years, right? So you basically become irrelevant really, really fast. Not to say you can't still get an occasional referral, you can, but you really have no way to provide them any sort of reasonable value to think about you and stay in front of them because they're just going to unsubscribe. And but if you're the community leader, if you're out there doing events and you're inviting people to a local business network, or you're putting on a cars and coffee event once a month, or you're putting on a massive summer smasher or a client appreciation event that's a big banger, all these things give you reasons to reach out with a newsletter to people and stay in front of them. And then you can share other events and other things happening in the community. You can put a blog on your site that's about the community. And then you can put that stuff in your newsletter. "Hey, this is the best pizza in town." You can give awards to businesses if you want. "Hey, we're voting for who's the best pizza in town." And then you put that and you go give them an award, and then you put it in the newsletter, right? So you have all kinds of reasons to stay in front of these people. And guess what? I would much rather have that information than, trying to just learn about staging a home for 13 years in between, right? It just makes no sense. So being a community leader gives you far more value, and you got to bring value. If you're not bringing somebody valuable information that is relevant to them right now, to help them right now, is something that they're interested in, they're going to unsubscribe, and they're not going to pay any attention to you. So you got to keep attention. And the power of the stage is the first step in that process, because it showcases that you're the authority, you're the one with the microphone, you're the one supporting your community, you're the one that is the leader around here. And by the way, I sell houses, and we are amazing at it. And so people are going to believe you right away. And now you have stuff to share with people and invite people, talk to them while they're there, keep in front of them. It's amazing. Number 6, get paid to market yourself. This is the thing that most people don't know. When I've told you before that 99% of agents aren't going to know some of this stuff, they didn't know this. I didn't know this. And again, I discovered this by accident. I started selling sponsorships because I saw other people doing it at events. And I was like, well, if they'll pay me $1,000 to come and put a booth here or 500 bucks, cool. Well, that means I don't have to, all my permits are paid for. And now all my other stuff is paid for. And so it turned out that people kept wanting to give me money. Almost nobody said no to me. Like everybody said yes. Every time I said, "Hey, I got a booth space over here. You want to put your chiropractic here? I mean, you can bring a massage table. I mean, whatever, hand out stuff." They're like, "How much is it?" I was like, "Oh, it's 500 an event." They're like, "Yeah, I'm in." I was like, "Oh, okay." I should have said $1,000. Shoot, maybe next year I'll get them. So every year kept getting bigger and bigger too. These people kept giving me more and more money, and more people wanted to get in here. And then we started selling $15,000 title sponsorships. It was crazy. I couldn't not make money if I tried. I put on the snack bar out there. We went to Costco and we bought snacks. We bought chips and candy bars and soda cans and water. And then I went and bought some popcorn, and I brought the popcorn maker, and we sold that stuff for like $1 to $3 or whatever. And then I brought the 2 kegs of beer I got donated every night, and we put that out there. By the way, I also did other events. So I did client appreciation events. I've done events for realtors and businesses, business networking events that were pretty big, 75 to 125 people, that were really, really spectacular. So I didn't just do this event, but this is the one that just touched my heart the most. So putting on this event, people just kept throwing money at me. So it ended up at, every year I was making more money. I think I was making somewhere between 15 and 30 grand a year just from putting on that event. And every year it was easier too, because everybody just was like, yeah, I'll do it again. Just send me the bill. And so we already knew what we were doing, so it's super easy. The hardest part is the first time. The first time you do it is the hardest part. The next year it gets easier, and it just keeps getting easier. And also, just to keep in mind, if you are thinking about doing events and this seems overwhelming to you and you're like, oh man, I don't really like planning events. Well, you can hire an event planner too. And you can even get their fee paid for by your event as well. You just incorporate that into, oh, that's an expense I'm going to have to add in and get another sponsor sold so I can cover my event planner. So keep that in mind. I actually sold the event when I left town, which was right before COVID ever hit. And I sold it to a realtor, and they partnered with a lender and an insurance agent, and they all bought it together. And so this is a sellable product depending on the event that you put on as well. So keep that in mind. And but then they ended up not putting it on because COVID happened, and so then there were some issues, and they ended up never doing it, unfortunately. So it died. But just know that this is something. The lady who bought it from me, she was like, I'm not doing this. I'm hiring an event planner. I was like, hey, do what you do. And so she was like, it's going to be awesome, but I'm not doing it. And so just know that there are options. If you have a teammate, if you have a partner in your business, stuff is real easy if you have a team, and you can put people on different things and stuff like that. And I love to teach you how that all works in the community. So discovery number 7, this is the last one. And this is probably the best one to me. I'm going to share a couple of stories real quick. You're making real impact on real people. All right. You're leaving a real legacy. This was what I told you earlier. I just didn't anticipate, I mean, there was a lot of stuff, as you just saw in all these discoveries, I didn't know was going to happen, but this one was the best because this one was real impact on real people's lives. You saw in that video, those little girls standing up at the stage and the lady dancing and singing, and she hands them the microphone, and then they sang the next line. And the silver man that I brought there, I brought him the very first year, and he like stands still, and then he moves these like crystal balls, and like the kids I got a great picture of this kid just going like, whoa, like he just couldn't believe it. And that, he'll remember that for the rest of his life. Those people you saw dancing, those couples dancing at the end of the night and stuff, it got really romantic with some of those people out there, I will say. And so it was awesome. You're really making a human impact here. And that's really the best part. You really are giving. And these people are like, man, I'm making these memories. This is the funnest thing I've done all month. And they come out. One time, 2 stories real quick. One time, my wife and I were talking to a lady friend, and she's telling her a story, and then she goes, "Oh yeah, my boyfriend," and she goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, I don't think I ever told you, but I met my boyfriend at the music at Montague." Like that's where I met him at. Somebody, he came with a friend, and I was there, and then he introduced us, and that was it. We fell in love, right? So you really are making an impact in people's lives. I remember my daughter, she was, I don't know, maybe 9 years old or 8 years old at the time, and the first season that we put it on, she's there, and her friends are there, and they're all running around and playing. And she's coming back behind the snack thing because she's a VIP and she gets to be back there, right? And she sees me on stage and she sees all this stuff. And then she comes up to me and she says, "Daddy, who thought of all this?" And I said, "I did, honey." And she said, "Wow, you're famous." And I was like, oh man, that just hit me right in the heart. That hit me right in the feels, because and it wasn't because I was trying to be famous. It was just that I was famous in her eyes for saying that. And so that was real special to me. But so just know that when you're doing this, you're leaving a legacy. And what I want you to know is that legacy is not what you do for people, it's what you leave in people. So if you came into this business, as I said earlier, not to just chase the next transaction, but to actually impact lives, to do some good, there is nothing better that you can do as a real estate agent to make more of an impact, to create more legacy in people than being a community leader and leading your community and putting on events and making things happen for them. All right. You don't have to just sit around. So the system that changes everything, this is what it is. It's building partnerships when you're putting on events. You just host some simple events. You're growing authority. You're making an impact. You got clients chasing you. I had people that would reach out and just text me and say, "Hey, Brad, my cousin is wanting to buy a house, and he and this is just a girl I didn't know. And she's just like, and he's coming to town. And I told him, I gave him your number. So expect a call. He's calling you tomorrow. He wants to buy a house. And I told him that I would not call, I won't trust anybody else but you. She never bought a house with me or anything. So she just came to the music at Montague. And so that stuff will happen to you. All right. Where was I? What's going on here? Sorry. I'm at the end of my rope here. My computer's frozen. Okay, so here's what I want you to know. The market's always going to change, but relationships never go out of style. You can stop being a transactional agent, just dealing with people between transactions or at transaction time, and start being the brand in your community, the brand that everybody wants to be a part of. So right now you can either keep struggling or you can start leading. I know that we talked about some of you on here have moved. And so this is a fantastic way for you to get known in your area really, really quickly. And for those of you that are just feeling invisible in your town and you want to get there faster, this is the way to go. So what I've done is I've created a new community. It's called the Local Legends Society, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's if you want to go farther faster, then you can go farther faster together. And so there are some nuances to this, and there are different types of events. And I can help you out. I will help you out if you join this community. If you want to join this community and be a part of what others are doing, this community is going to be absolutely fantastic for you to jump in there and to learn how to put on these events and walk through it one step at a time with a group. I do all kinds of cool stuff in there. But I want you to know that this community that I've created is not about me. I will be in there, and I feel like I'm expert level at putting on events and making money at putting on events, and making an impact at putting on events. I've never put on an event yet that wasn't successful, but at the same time, while you're going to get access to me in this community with group coaching and office hours and things like that, it's all about you, okay? Because I said in the beginning of this program and that, community is better. I'm so excited that you guys came here. I hope you got a lot of value out of what I've taught you so far. And if you want more value and if you want a group of people to go to help you grow together, this community is awesome because it's dynamic. So you're going to have people in there from all over the country who are putting on events. There are one lady I had come and speak, and she was she puts on events at a super high level. I think she puts on like 20 events a year, and she has a whole book laid out about how she does that and why she does it and everything like that. and she talks about being known in the 10,000 people area that your closest circle. And so people like that can come in there and share with you their knowledge. And you will have people like a friend of mine that I talked to the other day. He does what he calls micro and macro events. And one of his micro events is where every Mother's Day, he goes and does an event where he rents out a restaurant for single mothers, and he invites a bunch of single moms and their kids, pays for their lunch, has a band come in and play. Somebody comes in and speaks, and the kids go around on the outside and do crafts, and they build Mother's Day gifts for their moms. And gets me choked up every time I try to talk about it. But anyway, so you're going to learn from people like that in there that are going to help you to advance, give you ideas. It's dynamic, it's living, breathing community. And there's a course in there that's the Fast Track to Local Fame Blueprint all the way through that'll help you go through start to finish. But I do have live cohorts in there where we get together as a group, and for 6 weeks we do a walkthrough. This 6 weeks we're going to get your newsletter out and rolling and produced. This 6 weeks maybe we're going to learn about launching your very first event. This 6 weeks we're going to focus on business networking events. This 6 weeks we're going to focus on large festivals. This 6 weeks we're going to focus on holiday events or client appreciation holiday events. And so during these cohorts we come together, we meet up, I teach some stuff, other people teach some stuff, and we walk you through so that these are actionable groups, so that by the end you've actually launched and done this and done what you said you were going to do. And again, remember, none of these events should cost you anything. Sponsors will pay for it all. But my promise is if you want to join this community and you show up, I'm going to make you locally famous. We're going to make you locally famous together, and change everything in your business, in your life. So what's inside? We're going to have live cohorts and accelerators. These are going to be those fast-paced or 6 weeks challenges where we're going to walk you through so that by the end, you're going to report that you got this thing launched and it's ready to go. We'll have exclusive workshops and webinars once a month. Really cool stuff I got in there lined up for you. We have people coming in and teaching, and we have certain really cool things that you're going to want to know about in there, as far as little special things where, like, we might have today we're going to join up and meet up, and we're going to DM 30 people and try to find DM 30 possible sponsors for our next event. Just cool stuff like that. And one-off events and master classes. You're going to get access to all this, real accountability and real growth. So you have 2 paths if you join the community, but 1 mission. So we have the Rising Legend. It's just $33 a month. I'm not trying to break the bank for you guys. I know what it's like out there right now. But you're going to get the blueprint, the playbooks, the community office hours. If you join the Empire Builder, that's the one that's going to get you access to the live cohorts and pre-event signups and things like that. And you're going to get an extra office hours with me. So, and there's an extra channel just for the people that are in the Empire Builder program. So my advice is to jump in with the Empire Builder program. We do have a cohort launching in a couple of weeks, and this accelerator, this cohort is going to be about walking you through planning your first event to launching your first event in 6 weeks. Okay. So it's going to start in 2 weeks. I've got a course in there called the Fast Track to Fame Blueprint course. And during that time, if you've never put on a course or put on an event, you can jump in there and go through that course during the next couple of weeks. And then you'll be ready to go. You'll be a little more prepared for the accelerator that will, by the end of that accelerator, we're going to plan your first event, whether that's just a small event, whether, it's just a neighborhood block party or a business networking event, or whether you're ready to go big or go home kind of event. We will walk through that together with you. And there's accountability in there. We want to say, hey, where are you at? What'd you do? What you got? How many sponsors have you sold? Everything planned. You got your permits. Let's go. So this is the Local Legend Society. That's the community. So this is the website that you can jump in here and join and be a part of this community. I don't know if Debbie's still on here. Let me see, I can share it. Here's the link. So if you want to join, now is your time to do so, because in 2 weeks, if you get the Empire Builder, we bill quarterly. So it would be $297 today if you jump in there, but I sell the course for just $297. So if you get in there for less than $1,200 a year, that's like 1 sponsorship that you could sell to 1 event, right? If you stayed on for the whole year. But just $297 today in the Empire Builder, or $99 if you want to join the Rising Legend and still be a part of the community and the course and everything else. Jump in there and do it, because in the next 8 weeks from now, you could have a whole bunch of stuff planned, or at least 1 event, your first event, to get you off and running. And we'll help you with that. I'll walk you through it. I'll brainstorm it with you. We'll talk it through. We'll talk it out. We'll work it out. and make sure that you get your first event done and launched, and you will have no money out of pocket. In fact, it's going to pay for this community. Okay. So make sure you jump in there. Let's see. This is inside the local legend society. So you can see, it's a community. It's sort of like Facebook. You got feeds and stuff like that. There's courses. This is where the events are located. There's members in there that you can look at as well, that where you can find some referrals or just connect with people. You can chat with people. So super cool. But the deadline's firm. I hope you guys will join us, and you can secure your seat now at legendinyourtown.com. I put it in the chat. It's all in the chat. So, but what questions do you guys have? Just keep in mind, when you join, you're not alone. You're going to have me in a room full of rising legends beside you. It's dynamic. All these people with all these different crazy events around the country, showing you what's working and what's not, helping each other out. And I'll be in there. It's my life's work. So I'm pouring into this for you. Okay. So what questions do you guys have? Any questions? I'd love to answer questions.
I don't see any questions in the chat. Does anybody want to unmute
Yeah,
themselves?
unmute if you have some questions, or drop it in the chat either way.
Hey, so when you get sponsors, is it cold calling or like how do you get the sponsors?
Yeah, that's a good question. It can be. So what I suggest is, though, that you start by just reaching out to any local business owners that you know. Okay. Everything is easier face to face. You're probably surprised at how many business owners you already know. And so, what happened for me when I put on that first event, for example, was, I just reached out to my lender. I was like, I don't know if a lender is going to want to do this, but they said absolutely 100%. So that was the first one that was in. And then I said to them, do you know any other business owners who might want to do this? And lenders know everybody. So they said, absolutely. And I said, can you make the connection for me? So, they would put us in a group text and say, Brad's got this event. You should meet with him. I just jumped in. It's going to be awesome. You should too. And so then I just went and met with them, and I said, hey, do you know anybody that wants to be in this? And that's how we ended up selling like our first 5 or 6 sponsorships. That's how I found the guy who came and sold the food. Like he brought his team, because he has a restaurant, a hibachi restaurant. He came, brought these Japanese bowls that he sold. Met him like that. Met the guy who ended up becoming the title sponsor, the insurance agent like that. So you'll be surprised if you just use your network first. But then I would also suggest that you could go out, if you don't want to cold call. You could certainly cold call, but if you don't, you can go out to some of the chamber events or the networking events that might be in your town, and then meet people that way and just start talking to them. And a lot of times they'll give you like a 5-minute, session to say something to the group. And so if you're putting on an event, then maybe you already have like a website up, page that's just information about, what the event is going to be about, and a place for people to register, right? So yes, absolutely. That's the easiest way, is to just start meeting people in groups, and then reaching out to your network, and always ask the question, who do you know that might want to do this too, that you can connect me with, and start that you can make the introduction for as well. Does that answer your question? That helpful?
Yes. So basically go through sphere of influence and then have them connect you and then just keep connecting until you get a big pile of people. Got it.
Absolutely. But the thing is if you're bringing an event, people want to be there. People want to do it. You might need to lower the price for this or that, person here and there, but you can make a tiered package, sponsored package, which is also something that I teach in the community and have templates for as well.
Thank you.
You betcha. Thanks for asking a question. Anybody else got any questions? What'd you think?
You did a great job.
Thanks, Debbie.
I want to know who's excited to put on their first event.
Yeah. Are you putting on events? Jump in here. Tell me what you got going on. If you're already putting on events, I want to know. If you're fired up about putting on an event, let us know. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I mostly do booths. So I've been a consumer of events, but I never put on an event. So that's why I'm interested.
And how do you feel about that? Do you think you'd rather put on events?
Yeah. Well, I do really well with the booths. So that's why I'm like, oh, but if I controlled the event, then I get paid because
Absolutely.
I'm on the same boat as you. I should be paid to advertise myself. That's why I do booths and seminars. Because with booths and seminars, like, because one booth, I just did a booth in Los Angeles 2 weeks ago, and I got access to like 700 people. I taught a webinar, or not a webinar, I taught an in-person workshop, had like 60 people in the room. But yeah, but being in charge of the event itself, it's just like you said, the one to many gets accelerated very quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. And you could totally do that, and get a booth, but if you're doing a booth, I would much rather spend a little bit more effort, pad my pocket, get the whole thing paid for, put some money in my pocket, and be the one who gets to control the stage and the microphone and get in front of those people and control the advertising that goes out for it. So that way people know, they associate me with that and get to know me. Because if you have a booth, you are just limited to those people who walk by, and you're trying to put some bait out there, right? You're trying to throw the hook out there and see if anybody bites to come over to your booth, right? And that's still just one to many. I mean, one to one, isn't it? That's still not one to many. The person on the stage who owns the stage gets the one to many.
I have a
Christina,
question. Yep. Oh, unless someone else is going.
hi. Well, did you have a question?
I did, yes. So I guess I'm wondering, I know I love what you did with the concerts. I know that's more of a larger scale. My hometown actually already does like a big concert series, and I'm sure it
Mm-hmm.
started with just like you said, because they're sponsors and everything. I'm trying to kind of brainstorm smaller things,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe work up to bigger events. And so I didn't know if you had more suggestions on that. I am starting a book club at my local coffee shop, so that's one thing, just to get me in front of at least some people. And then I also there's a couple model home builders that are willing to host events. But I'm trying to think of ways, like I've done first time home buyer seminars before, but I want something else. Like I want to be able
Mm-hmm.
to educate them on that, but then I want something, like you said, something fun, maybe like a craft or something to like also pull the local people in, not just you're going to learn about buying a house for the first time. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Like I said, if it really doesn't matter the event. If you pull people together of something of interest, and they come together for it, and you are still the one in control of the room, so you're facilitating, you're talking about why you put this event on, you're talking about the business that's hosting it, or the builder or whatever, and you let them talk a little bit, and then you tell about your business and your family or whatever it is, and then let them know what you do, and maybe some call to action if you want to toss that in, and then go just have fun doing that event. And then you can, if there's a business, and they're like, you're able to sell sponsorships at this event, then you can tell people, oh, by the way, if you're a business, I am going to be doing more events like this, so make sure you connect with me, and I'll get you in front of people, as we did with our sponsors today, things like that, and people just have fun. So there's a like a little store. It's sort of like a home goods store, but it's really like specialized decor for houses, stuff for walls, stuff for shelves, things like that. But it's real like fancy stuff, and boutique, right? Here in our town in Winter Park. And they don't have a super big space by any means, but they put on an event. Some lady puts on an event there like once a month, and they do crafts in there. They do some kind of craft together. And I'm guessing it's maybe 30 to 50 people, because it's not a huge space. And so they do bring in some food, and then, music or whatever playing in the background. And then somebody talks and teaches about crafts. I've seen a lady, that cooks. So if there's anybody in your town that does some cooking, and she can teach people how to cook, and maybe has like a cooking like training facility or something, you can maybe go to her space and bring ladies to that. And so you could just venture out from there. But if there may be some costs involved if you do things like that, where there's food costs, and things somebody has to pay for. You can just sell a sponsorship and be like, you're the food sponsor or whatever. If it's a place where they do serve food, obviously they could just provide the food, but they still might want to charge you for the food. So, but yeah, does that answer your question? But starting small is absolutely brilliant. I think it's a great way to get yourself going and get yourself out there, and don't be afraid to do it, because People will come. This is what people don't understand too. This is a discovery I left out, but you know, you saw that. Have you ever saw that movie with Kevin Costner? You know, if you build it, they will come. They will come. Trust me. Anytime you put on any kind of event. The other day I was just downtown in this town near me, and they had a October Zombie Fest that it was like a market. And so they had a bunch of spooky booths and people walking around in costumes and DJs playing spooky music and people selling spooky drinks. And it was like the coolest thing. And there's 1,000 people down there. I'm like, okay, a zombie fest, and here we are. So if you build it, and you think if you like it, or you think other people like it, or you see a Facebook group of ladies doing stuff, they will come.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is Maritza. I just want
Hey,
to, hi, how are you?
good. How are you
Thank you
doing?
so much for the inspiration. Your presentation was great and the information was just invaluable. So I'm currently taking a real estate course.
Okay.
You just had my brain spinning as to what I may want to do. So I'm a tennis player. And so just
Yeah.
thinking, I'm thinking of organizing like a tennis tournament
Ooh.
similar to something what you're talking about, but oriented around tennis and having prizes,
Mm,
etc. What do you
yeah.
think?
Absolutely. I don't know exactly how you might do that in terms of I'm not a tennis player, but I could definitely see that working for sure. You might even bring in like a tennis coach that could come and like teach a group of people at once or something too. You could
Yeah.
maybe think of doing different themes where it's like this month people dress up in a costume to come and play and best costume wins. Or I mean, you can get super creative with stuff these days with Chat GPT. When you tell them that you want some themes, tell them to give them some brainstorm some themes. That's all I tell it all day long. But yeah, I don't know if you play pickleball, but man, that's hot right now. And
I
so,
don't. I want to keep it like I want to keep promoting tennis for now.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
That's
if you,
coming like at 90.
yeah, absolutely. If you already have a network, or you think you can build a network pretty fast, then absolutely. Down here where I live, there's like the U.S. like tennis association there's a
Oh, yes,
massive
yes.
building.
I participate in that. I'm just south of you. I'm in Palm Beach
Oh,
County.
oh yeah, very cool. So yeah, I mean, if you can network with some people around there that are into that and build a tournament, or build a meetup or something, too. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
whatever you can think of. Again, people will come. People will come.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, nice to meet you. But we'd love to have you guys in this community too, where you're going to be able to walk through with a group of people, and you're going to have that accountability to launch your first event and see your life and your business change, and we'll do it together. It's so much fun, guys. Anybody else with any questions?
I just dropped the link in the chat again, Brad, so that they can go and check it out and see which one of those plans they want to do. But yeah, if you do that tennis tournament, get a famous tennis pro, especially if you're right down the street from some big tennis thing, and
Yeah,
have them do an appearance at your event, sign,
absolutely.
even
That's a great
autograph
idea.
it. Yeah.
That'll bring the crowd.
Yes, that sounds amazing.
That's brilliant, Debbie.
Maybe you could do a drawing for someone getting to play a twosome with the tennis pro, the tennis star that you bring in. Like,
Right.
I don't know, maybe call Andre Agassi or something.
Yes, I know. Actually, I know of quite a few tennis players that do live down here. I mean, it's just going to be interesting as to how accessible they are.
Yeah, do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, you guys. Well, Brad, thank you so much for coming out and spending a little over an hour with us, almost an hour and a half, sharing your passion for what you're doing. It's so exciting. For anybody who wants to watch the replay, I will put it up on YouTube as soon as my VA edits it and gets out the beginning introduction stuff, and we just get down to what Brad was teaching us. We'll get that up and you can watch it. I did put the link to subscribe to our YouTube channel in there as well earlier, so grab that. and grab the link to the community. And that's it. Any final words, Brad?
No, it just, if you didn't jump in, do it now, do it. Don't waste time, because we're going to jump into that first cohort. You can get your events planned before the end of the year, where you're putting on these events and already making an impact in your community and getting deals for next year. It's a great way to plan your next year too. So at the end of this year, we will be planning for next year as well. So would love to have you in this community, see you in there. And if not, good luck. Go out there and make a difference. Become a community builder and a community leader rather than just a transactional real estate agent.
Excellent. All right. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys. We'll see
Debbie.
you